From the snow-capped mountains of the west to the cypress swamps of the south and everywhere in between. This is the Southern Flight Podcast. I'm your host, Robbie Nelson. You are listening to the Southern Flight Podcast. Today's guest is Mr. Barrett Donnelly. Today's going to be the first Garage Beers episode. We've been talking about doing this, and we have a mutual friend, Barrett and I, that actually the guy who I originally started duck hunting with all those years ago sells a lot of building material to Barrett and his business partner. And Barrett's a duck hunter, and beyond that, he's a wild man.
I would say.
Yeah, to kind of let y'all know where this is going, let me go ahead and preface this and say if you've got young kids in the car, this is not the listen for them. If you're easily offended, this is probably also not the listen for them or you. And if you don't like vulgarity, I'd go ahead and just skip this episode and find one of the other ones. And this is just more of a laid back hunting episode, shooting the shit kind of thing. So just letting y'all know now, you have been warned. So anyway, Barrett, how the hell are you?
Just fat and old, brother.
Fat and old? Well, I've got one of those down for sure, and I'm inching closer on the other one.
They get worse daily. Worse daily, guaranteed.
Worse daily, huh? So tell everybody just a little bit about yourself as far as hunting goes. I mean, right. There you go.
So I grew my parents are both from Bowling Green, Kentucky. They grew up there, and we would go back home, and just the waterfowl there is always different. And we shot a lot of doves. I'm a wing shooter. I shoot doves, I shoot ducks, and pheasants out the window. And I mean, that's just the way it is. But you know, as a child, I can remember seeing all these ducks, and it just made me interested. And there's a picture that I talked to my dad about of him and my grandfather down in Louisiana. They jumped an old 70-something Cadillac and drove to Louisiana right before I was born, and they had 200 ducks in this picture hanging up on an old shack that I don't think anybody even live in. And I told my dad, I said, I want to be that one day. And that's just what I want to do. That's just, I just love it. I mean, I love to shoot wings. I loved athletics growing up, baseball. This is the closest thing to throwing a pass as you can do, shooting a dove flying by at 50 miles an hour. And there wasn't a lot of duck hunting, as you know, around here. Yeah. We go try to fight for wood ducks. We do what we can. And then a buddy of mine named Brad McCoy took me to Arkansas, and that cost me a lot of money.
Now, how long you been hunting out there?
God, we went 24 years ago, 25 years ago was my first trip. I'm 51, just turned 51 yesterday. I went out there 25 years ago, and it's just been ever since. I go back every year, 2-3 times a year.
So I just did a podcast the other day and was talking to a guy about non-resident hunting license sale numbers, and they were comparing different states, right?
Right.
And obviously Saskatchewan is now limiting us on going up there. So we dug into it, and I think it was 9,100 non-resident license sales for the province of Saskatchewan. That's a pretty damn big province. Now,
yep.
Now, I know a lot of it's forest up top, whatever, but it's a pretty big province. Said that the state of Arkansas, I think the newest data that they had out was like from 2024, but I'm wanting to say it was over 60,000 non-residents. Yeah, I do too, because everybody I know around here goes. So I guess what I was getting at with that is just since we were on the topic of duck hunting, and this is a duck hunting podcast, how much have you seen it change in the 25 years or so that you've been going out? There's got to be a lot.
Well, I mean, my first trip out there was the Bayou Meta, which is like the Mecca, the place you want to go. I know my best day personally ever duck hunting was my first limit in the Bayou Meta. When I went out there with all those yahoos and all that boat racing and all that stuff, and I was able to call in my own ducks, kill my own ducks. There was 3 of us, and walk out of there with my chest puffed out. I got cussed out at the truck. Guy was just bitching about South Carolina people and how they don't know what the hell they're doing. And this guy sat up right next to him. He said, "Shit, y'all limited out. Where are you from?" I said, "Georgia." He was like, "What? Oh my God, I'm sorry, man." I was like, "No, dude, I get it. It's all good. I get it." So
what you're saying is it was still kind of a fucked up deal back then, I guess, as far as
100%.
I mean, Well, we don't have ducks here.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we don't. And good God, I don't want to get on the topic of that damn flooded corn after how I've been drugged through the mud on social media just for having Josh Goins on here. But anyway, he made a point saying that the ducks aren't migrating for whatever reason. It's his opinion that it's flooded corn, whatever. But the ducks aren't migrating, so we migrate to the ducks.
Well, I think you just hit a little bit on the head too. Now, we talked about this earlier. I've had the fortunate to have a friend that has flooded corn that we go hunt and we love it and we enjoy it. We ride back and we think, doggone, I just wish we could do it. But my job doesn't dictate that I can do that. His does.
Right.
However, pressure in Arkansas is a problem. I mean, it's just that's all there is to it. I mean, you got to rest your field. You got to rest your area. You can't just go out there and kill them every day. And that's a big deal. Of course, that's what they did in the Bayou Meter. They said people can't come anymore. You can't go out there if you're a non-resident, which I think's crap. I don't agree with that. You may, I don't. I think that Florida ought to put a deal of, hey, if you're from Arkansas, you can only go to the beach from February 1st, February 28th, and then you get a little bit in March. There's only 1 week in summer you can come down there, and I don't agree with that.
Well, I said on there that Florida ought to. I forgot who I was just talking to somebody about this yesterday. I think I said Florida ought to put a quota on Disney World. Everybody that wants to take their kid to Disney World, well, let's all put in for a draw now to see how many of y'all can go.
And then you get 3 days.
Yeah, and you're going to have to tell little Susie that she can't go because you didn't get drawn this year. I said that they ought to fucking do that. I mean, all these states most of these states are getting federal tax dollars. Well, who the fuck pays federal tax dollars?
Everybody.
Exactly, me and you both. I can understand it from a deer or a turkey standpoint more so than I can ducks, because ducks are migratory.
They're not specific to that state.
Correct. So their deer population is their deer. That deer can't, if he gets pressured, he can't pick up and run 400 miles to get away. Now he can go nocturnal and I ain't trying to go down the deer hunting path right now, but you get what I'm saying.
I do.
But those ducks, nobody owns those damn ducks.
No.
I mean, those ducks are migratory. Most of them, they're going to start in the prairies or Canada and then come all the way down and stop wherever they want to along the flyway. But you don't own, Kansas doesn't own those ducks. Arkansas don't own those ducks. I mean, I guess I can sort of just trying to look at it through the devil's advocate lens. If I lived there, I mean, the selfish part of me would go, yeah, I don't want these non-residents coming in here neither, and all these some bitches and this and that and whatever. Like, I get it. But how many of those guys, as we just said, take their wife to Florida every year to go on vacation or travel to do whatever it is that they may like to do elsewhere? A lot of these guys are bitch, and then they'll travel on themselves to go somewhere hunting, whether it be turkey hunting or deer hunting or something like that. And it's like, how you going to bitch about that?
It bothers me to the nth degree. I mean, I know you don't go to North Dakota. You go to Canada.
Right.
But North Dakota just cut it back.
I saw that.
Where I can only hunt 7 days in a row in one zone.
Now, what kind of, I mean, I don't even understand that.
Well, I called a guy today, Rob Bodine is a guy we hunt with up there. Rob played football at Clemson's, All-American. We're buddies. I mean, we're not up there with a guide. We're up there with a friend. And I said, Rob, we generally come up October 1st, hunt ducks, make sure all the stuff's together, the pheasants aren't in season. And now you're saying I can't come back and do it again because we take a group of people up there that are going to pay. Well, the people that suffer are the Finish Line Bar and Grill in town because that's where we eat every night. The local gas station. We're not in there buying the stupid snacks we buy to go duck hunting. They suffer financially because of what we've done or what they've done to say we can't come back.
And that's going across the board. And it seems like, I know the majority of states are still pretty open, but your heavy flyway states, I know Kansas is pushing for more laws this year. And from a podcast I just heard, and I haven't done the research on this myself, but I think 2027 season, they're talking about going to a complete draw up there like South Dakota. So now I don't know that that's going to go through, but that's what a guy who has a podcast that lives in Kansas. I'm actually interviewing him this weekend, but on here, so I'm going to ask him about that. But he had brought it up that he was listening to, I guess, their flyway meeting or whatever they have there.
Right.
Because Kansas, fun, interesting fact, was the only state last year that didn't, to my knowledge, that didn't raise the pintail limit to 3. They're the only state that didn't. I think this year they are. And that was part of what that he had on his podcast, and he mentioned about it going to a draw.
Well, let me ask you this. What are you seeing on pintails? Because I envy you because you hunt all over the world. I mean, we both are successful. You just go wherever anybody will. You do a lot of stuff. Well, what are you seeing on pintails?
Well, let's address the first thing. The difference is you're going to be able to retire one day, and I'm not.
I don't know.
That's the difference. That's the difference. So let's address that. Yes, I go do a lot. It doesn't mean it's a smart choice, but I hunt a lot in areas that have a lot of pintails, right? So it's kind of like if you want to go. You're going to see a lot of a duck if you go to where that duck lives. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you come right here to Augusta, Georgia, and you're trying to hunt down a pintail, well, you'd might as well think they were extinct, right?
Right.
So some of the places I've been fortunate to go, Canada being one of them, if you don't hit it too late and they haven't migrated out yet, I mean, you would think there's more than the mallards at times. I mean,
that's the way it is in North Dakota.
Yeah, you really would. And I've hunted North Dakota. It's just been a long time, so I don't have as much. I don't have as much. I guess an opinion on North Dakota, but even so, some of these places I hunt way out west, the pintail numbers out there in some of these places are astronomical. And I think that one of the main biologists that helped get that pintail limit changed is in California. And you talk to the guys that hunt California on a regular basis, and they get, before this limit change, they get absolutely sick of seeing pintails because you could shoot one, and then 9 out of 10 ducks that were coming in after they killed their one were pintails.
That's all we had in North Dakota. I've got video of the last year that Dufel went up there, which our mutual buddies Matt Dufel went up there with us. We're videoing pintails, groups of 40 and 50 just coming in, and they're just sitting there, and one drake is just circling our decoys, and it's pointless. I mean, and you can't shoot first light birds up there because you would have murdered all the pintails you wanted to, not knowing it. Right.
Especially that time, you're got to be real careful.
That's right, because those mallards are looking similar. Everybody's looking similar. So it's crazy to me how many pintails we see up there. And I can take you to a spot in Arkansas. It's in west Stuttgart that's always loaded with pintails. Loaded. And that's wild because you don't see them like that everywhere else, but you'll have groups of 200 coming in on you over there. I believe it's Allport is loaded with pintails. But
interesting.
It is.
Yeah, they say, one caveat to pintails that I'll say, and I think this is part of the reason why they changed the limit, although a lot of people aren't happy because they didn't put a sex limit on it.
Right.
So people say, well, if you're going to do 3 pintails, make it 1 hen. Don't do 3 pintails, and then I think the majority of people are probably going to be trying to pick out the big sprigs. I know I am.
I am. We are.
A pintail hen, with the exception of Canada, because it's impossible to tell, but a pintail hen is off limits to me.
Yeah.
In the States. If I'm going somewhere, it's just, I don't have to shoot one. I mean, it's just, I've been there and I've done it. I mean, whatever. I'd rather wait to see that big old sprig.
That's right.
But I will say, it seems like the areas that I go, the drakes way outnumber the hens. And I think the science behind that supports it. And I think that that's some of the reason why they were able to get this law changed. Some of the biologists were saying they were seeing 1 hen flying around with 30 to 40 drakes following her. 1 hen.
Right.
So, in other words, what they're saying is killing 1 drake a day or killing 3 drakes a day is not doing a hill of beans because the hens are going to get bred. And them poor hens don't stand a chance on the breeding grounds up there because because of where they prefer to nest. A lot of their nests are getting plowed right over. Predation. Pintails prefer to nest in short grass.
Right.
So a lot of that stubble looks like good nesting habitat to them. And that's one of the biggest problems with the pintails. And it's kind of been proven time and time again, but I mean, you can't tell a farmer you can't farm. So
No.
The pintail thing is it's a tough subject, but I will say if you get where pintails are at, you would think that they outnumber every other duck in the world. In my opinion.
I agree. Cause I mean, we're in a hot spot in North Dakota. We're east of, I'm not even gonna say.
Yeah, don't say. I was going to say don't say that because everybody listening to this duck hunts. Don't name your town.
No, because I mean
Yeah.
now you guys name your spot, your zone.
Yeah,
you're going to hunt.
don't do it. Don't do it.
But it's I just up there we cherry pick the pintails, we wait on the drakes, and we try to shoot the biggest one. And I will say this, that's funny you say that. We do see a large group of pintails, predominantly drakes.
Right.
Like at least 2 to 1 and usually 3 to 1. So that's kind of wild.
Not that it matters what my redneck uneducated self thinks, but I don't mind the 3 pintails. I do kind of wish they'd lower it to 1. But I think it would be really hard to do that in North Dakota.
I would struggle.
Or South,
I would struggle.
or South Dakota that early in the season.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's a way around that, but like a lot of the wintering states where they go, California's a big one. You can name any state west of Colorado out there. I will just make it real blanket.
They have a lot of pintails.
Anywhere on the West Coast, and it's not a secret. The West Coast is inundated with pintails. I mean, that's where the push to get the limit to 3 started. I talked to the biologist that had it, that I hadn't had him on the podcast, but I talked to him, this has been some years ago, and he was saying back then before the law changed that they were trying to get it changed to 3. So there's a pile of them out west, but they do seem to outnumber the drakes seem to outnumber the hens, and I wouldn't mind, at least in the later season, like after a certain date, going, hey, 3 pintails, no more than 1 hen. I mean, have the hen there for another. Yeah, I think it's good because people don't need to stack up a bunch of hen pintails, in my opinion. But
at all,
I don't think so. I don't, and everybody has their opinion on, going to Mexico and piling up ducks, or going to Canada and piling up ducks. And look, I've done both. I mean, it's legal there, so I go do it. Is it right? I mean,
I don't blame you. Let me say that.
Well, we'll talk about flooded corn for 1 minute. and because you said I don't blame you. After this last podcast, I've done a lot of thinking. And by the time this comes out, that Josh Goins podcast had been out before this. So I've done a lot of thinking, and I find it hard to blame the man that's got the money,
not at all,
to build habitat that he can enjoy and harvest his ducks. I find it hard to blame that guy. I really do, because Josh might not in particular, because Josh is very firm in his ways, and Josh was a very nice guy to me, very respectable. I told him I didn't agree with everything that he had to say, and he didn't sit there and try to, yeah. I mean, he just pled his case, and that was that. So I have respect for him. I don't have any issues with him. But it's a free world, man. I mean,
we're a capitalist society.
If
that guy's got that money, and the buddy that we have that we hunt with has the ability,
right.
He should have the option. You can plant whatever you want to plant that's legal. Corn's legal. Don't dig it up. Don't harvest it. Don't do anything to it. They still get it after they take the water off of it. They're cutting it for whatever horse feed, cow feed, whatever. So why is it illegal?
Well, that's a whole different topic, but I did want to say that I told you this before we started. If it was duck season, you called me and said, hey, my buddy up here that's got this flooded corn says,
come on,
he's got room. Do you want to come? I'm not going to sit here and say no.
No.
I'll have that truck, that F-250 out there pointed northwest as quick as I can get it gone. I mean, so I can't blame them for hunting it. But anyway, I don't want to talk about flooded corn any more than that. That's all I wanted to talk about.
It's fun to hunt.
Yeah.
It's fun to hunt because you'll shoot a group of birds that come in, and 20,000 will get up and go right back down. And
right.
They're going to trickle over there to you.
Right.
And that 20,000 is what causes the problem for all the people that can't stand it. But you brought a great point to me as we were talking on the phone. Those birds are safe and protected, and they're gonna procreate. We're gonna have more ducks.
Well,
I've never thought about that.
Well, that's the argument, there's several arguments against banning flooded corn or flooded unharvested ag in general. And one of the biggest arguments against it with all the habitat loss up and down the flyway, all the urban sprawl, all the shopping malls, neighborhoods, data centers, you name it, that are coming up. If a man takes a piece of property that was not was not duck habitat at all, and he builds a levee system around it and puts a bunch of corn, whatever. I'm just using corn because that's what the hot topic is, but puts a bunch of corn in it and turns the water onto it and starts getting a bunch of ducks in there. I mean, most of these guys that have the kind of means to do that, they've got enough money to where it doesn't matter what it costs them to do it.
Right.
They're going to hunt it with them and their close buddies, or them and their family and whoever they invite. So in the grand scheme of things, they're wintering a lot of ducks, or even if they're not completely holding them, they're holding, at least for a temporary time, a lot of birds that would otherwise get on public land where every Tom, Dick, and Harry is behind every fucking cypress stump or every, tupelo tree, oak tree, name it, whatever, and his Elmer Fudd's poking around with a shotgun shooting at him at 60s. So I don't know. That's one of the arguments. And it's kind of hard to argue that point. Does it suck for the everyday guy? I've never hunted flooded corn. If I went up there, does it suck for a guy like me? Well, yeah, it does, because I'm not the guy in there hunting it. But I mean, can I be mad at the guy?
No.
I mean,
it's free country.
I know. I work for myself. It's beautiful work. You and I both work for ourselves. What if somebody said, "Hey, man, there's too many people building houses, so you're not allowed to build houses anymore"? Well, I don't. I mean, there's a fine line when you start walking down that road of telling people what they can and can't do to where does it stop? Because once you start somewhere, like, where do you stop? That's what bothers me. I don't like any more government regulations. The only way I'd really get on with banning everything is if they put a caveat in there where they ban the IRS with it. Then I'd ban whatever the fuck you want to ban.
I'd be on board, 100%.
Yeah. But anyway, before we start talking about some stories, I want to ask your opinion. So you go to North Dakota, and obviously we've talked about it. You go to Arkansas a lot, and your buddy's place. I think that might not be in Arkansas.
It's in West Tennessee.
Okay, so Tennessee, which is funny because that's where he said a lot of this flooded corn's at on that last podcast. But
it is.
Yeah, it is. But anyway, so between those three states, those are historically great mallard areas. You've been going to Arkansas for at least 25 years. I don't know how long you've been going to North Dakota. What have you seen anecdotally in your travels out there? What have you seen as far as mallard numbers? Do you feel like they're up? Are they down? Are they the same? What do you see on the landscape?
Well, my first trip to North Dakota was about 6 years ago. We literally, we killed mallards only. We had one hunt where we killed some teal, pintail, stuff like that, but it was mainly mallards. It was just hundreds of mallards coming. And I mean, you just sit there and film. You wouldn't shoot. I mean, groups of 100, you're just filming. So we saw that. Since then, it's dissipated. 1 year, all we killed was lessers and graders, and that was it. And then you didn't get anything else.
Let me jump in before I forget. In that 6 years, I know we've been in a drought. Has it gotten dry in that area you go?
It has been both. It's up and down.
Up and okay. So you've hunted it both dry and wet in that area. Okay.
The hurricane year, which I guess was 2 years ago, it was wet up there. I mean, you could shoot ducks anywhere. Last year was so wet they couldn't get the corn up, so all the ducks were in the potholes in the flooded corn. And it was different than anything you've ever hunted in North Dakota. You know, you were going out there hunt a dry field, do this. Oh, we're going to drive right out in this farmer's field. Nobody cares. That was out last year. You had to go in there and walk through the rows of corn to hunt a pothole, hoping to kill ducks. And we saw a lot of mallards then, but they were pigeonholed. As far as just straight up mallard feeds like we've been seeing, no, I've seen more pintails than mallards. And that is crazy to me. Arkansas, we killed our fair share of mallards this year down there. Had a good
Y'all
trip.
finally had a little weather though this year there.
We did well pre-snow. The week before the snow, we did well post-snow. We actually rode out into the ice storm and stayed there through the ice storm, and that was wild because if you had any moving water, and we actually did some crazy stuff. We set a sewer ejection pump in there, it looked like a fountain, but those ducks didn't care. They were just coming straight to it. They saw open water and they saw the ability to sit their butt down for a second, and it was easy to shoot them. But yeah, mallards I have seen are not, let's say not the same, a little less, especially in North Dakota. Like when I got up there first last year, my buddy and I were riding. We rode about 300 miles in one day, and we found like 1,000 bird feed. It was solid pintails. And then I didn't find any mallard feeds, but they were all in those potholes, so you couldn't see them. So I don't know what was there really last year. You had to be there first light or last light.
But yeah, there's also something to be said about mallards. If you believe in the counts that they put out every year, mallards are way down than what they were at their high 6, 7, 8 years ago.
Who puts those counts out?
Well, I guess the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services and the Canadian Fish and Wildlife
part of the government. I'm just asking.
Yeah, well,
I'm just telling you, all the boys we meet, and you meet a lot of people in this game. All the boys we meet from Louisiana will tell you, they tell me that this lake is eat up with 1 million ducks. And they're like, well, can you come show us where the hell they're at? Because we ain't seen a damn duck anywhere on the property. So I don't buy that. I think the numbers are down.
Well, that's why. Well, and even if you don't buy it, they still claim they're down. I mean, obviously, especially I think most of them. There's one or two of them the last couple of years that's kind of been a highlight. But blue-winged teal have been way down. Mallards have been way down. Pintails have been down. I mean, for the most part, every year when they put that out, and I think it's August now, July or August, they put it out. It's been doom and gloom the last several years. But I will say, I have seen a drastic change in water on the landscape in the prairies where I go.
Okay.
A lot. I can't think of the first year we've been going up there, but I'm thinking this is year 13 or so, maybe something like that. And it's gone up and down, but I literally this past season drove by. I was in an area I hadn't been in several years, but I have pins dropped everywhere. And if I go by a pothole or go by somewhere and I see a bunch of mallards in a hole, I'll start dropping pins on them, because if you see enough mallards sitting in enough holes, well, there's going to be an afternoon feed or a morning feed somewhere around there.
It's in the area.
It's in the area. So I'll start dropping pins. I'll get back and start taking looks. All right, well, I need to go somewhere, because somewhere in this 2 or 3 miles right here, there's going to be a big feed of them. And where I was going with that is there was an area that I had a bunch of pins. And I said, man, I ain't been over here in a while. Let me go. We had a couple feeds locked down. I said, I'm going to go just scout out this area I haven't been in and just see what's around. I went driving down, and I like looking at my map, looking. And I'm like, what the hell? Those pins that were potholes that had mallards in them years prior, there was not a stitch of evidence that a pond was ever there. I'm not saying it was dried up and there was no, it was plowed under, and
now farmland
and stubble. And this was not just one. This was multiple. So the habitat loss that they talk about is real. There's obviously, and you've seen it, there's obviously still a lot of ponds and wetlands and stuff across the landscape, but the temporary ponds and wetlands that fill up on the wet years are really the most important to the puddle ducks for brood survival. Yeah. And those are the ones that are the most vulnerable, because on a dry year, they're called temporary wetlands for a reason. On a dry year,
they ain't there.
They're not there, right? So this farming equipment's done come such a damn long ways now, and the technology and all. Hell, these farmers, they'll burn all the cattails around and just keep working it, and then it's gone, dude. It's gone. Now, if it starts back and gets a real badass rain or something, turns off crazy wet, yeah, it might still be a depression that's going to hold the water, but there's not going to be any of that tall fluff around the edges that those ducks need. I mean, it's just going to be basically wet stubble.
When you go there, would you prefer to hunt the water?
No. Fuck a water. No,
I can't stand it.
Fuck a water. No, for multiple reasons. If you hunt water, you are way more likely to run birds out of an area than if you field hunt.
Right. That's their safe place.
That's their safe place. I have seen it play out time and time again. Now, you can get away with hunting every situation's different. You've probably seen this too, but you can get away with a lot of times that there'll be like a little pond, like a real small one. Like if I'm going to shoot one, I'd prefer it to be one you can shoot across, because most of the time what those birds are going to do there is they're going to come from wherever they're loafing, hop in there, get them a drink of water, bam, hop out to a field. So you never see a pile of ducks in there. That's just kind of like a little transition slough is what I call it. But even then, I'll try not to hunt that if I can. because I'd rather go shoot them in the field. If I don't have to walk around in them muddy ass waders and them damn no bottom swamps, especially the older and the fatter I get, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Give me a pair of bibs and an A-frame and I'm good.
My first year there, we had them coming off of, every water up there is almost man-made in North Dakota. So we would come off, we would see them come off the lake, go to a cattle pond, and then come to the dry field. And it was awesome because we'd just be sitting there hanging out, talking, telling stories, doing whatever. And we'd see a group of 100 go to this cattle pond. We were like, all right, we got to kind of get ready. And then you'd see them get up off this cattle pond a mile and a half away and be like, load your gun, get ready, they coming. And then next thing you know, 5 minutes later, you've got ducks in the decoys. So we never hunted the water. Now we went and tried, and that was dreadful.
Now, I've had to hunt water. I've been up there on years. You couldn't pay me to go on a full moon. You can't. I won't do it anymore. I say I won't do it. If that's the only time I can absolutely go, I'll do it. But I literally pay attention to that. I don't like going around a full moon because I feel like those birds, they'll sit on that water longer before they come out. And it just goofs them up a lot of times. Yeah. I think I'd rather go after a full moon personally, if I just had to pick. But I've been up there on years to where, for whatever reason, they just weren't doing it in the field right. Or what they'll do a lot of times if the weather's especially not cooperating with you, they'll fly from their roost hole to a pond, and you'll go by in the afternoon or something and see them in the field right next to the pond, and you're like, oh, hell yeah, they're piled in there. Well, you better damn scout that a day or so and pay attention, because a lot of times what they're doing is they're going to land in that water first.
Right.
And then they're going to build up in that water, and then they'll hop up and jump 50 yards and go land in the field. So you come by there, in the afternoon, you got
your 200.
And you're like, oh, fuck yeah, they're all right there in that field. There's 1,000 mallards sitting right there. And, a lot of that shit up there's like rolling, so you can't see the little pothole. So you have to, I'm always like looking at on X personally, and like, well, is there any water in this field? Because if there's water in the field with the ducks, there's a damn good chance they're going to that water first and then hopping in the field. Not always, but if there is water in that field, you have to make sure they're not going to that water if you want to be successful. I've noticed that they'll definitely do that, so you got to pay attention to that. We got permission in this block one time. This guy owned about a mile by a mile. Hell, it was probably bigger than that. It was bigger than that. And we hunted the same block 5 days in a row, and it was the same birds. We knew right where they were roosting. We knew right where the birds were coming from. We knew all the little holes around they were sitting in, and we just never touched the water. And we'd go hunt the field here one day, and then they'd all build up a feed over here 500, 800 yards away, 1,000 yards away, same property owner. The next day, we're over there. Next day, you go hunt that water, that whole area is gone.
It's done.
So not only are you screwing yourself, but you're screwing anybody else in that area.
Yeah.
So if I do hunt water and I have a say about it, then I'm going to hunt the smallest water that I can get away with. You don't need, I tell people this all the time. Yes, it's awesome to see 10,000 mallards. It's absolutely awesome. You don't need to see them to kill 8.
No.
Or 6 or 5 or whatever it is.
There, you need to kill 6.
You don't need to see 10,000 of them. And it is awesome to see them. But Mr. Pat Pitt told me this, and this kind of stuck with me. You always want to hunt the interest. You never hunt the principal. So if you can hunt on the outside edges and leave your nest egg alone, your flooded corn guy that's got the 20,000 ducks, it's the same thing. He's hunting the interest, not the principal.
Right.
So don't go in the beehive. Go hunt the little flower out there that some of these worker bees are coming to. Don't go hunt the damn hive, because if you go hunt the hive, you're gonna shoot your wad one time, and then now what? Now those ducks are gone.
Yeah, we've always done it last day, burn it down. If you find it, that's the only way you do it. Otherwise, you just keep hunting the outskirts.
Yeah, because if you get in there and get on that water, you're going to dick them up. Now, I've gone up there, and 90% of the time, 95% of the time, we're field hunting. I'm in a bad mood if I go up there and I got to break out a pair of waders.
For 2 years, I didn't take waders because I said, if we have to hunt water, I'm probably just going to hang out and drink beer. I'm just going to be honest. I'm good. Well, I'll shoot the pheasants out the window in the afternoon. I'm not doing...
I hear you. But yeah, so that's my opinion on when you go up north field hunting like that. And I've seen it play out in the States too, on places that I hunt. Some of the places that I've been fortunate to hunt out west in January, hell, we've hunted the same field sometimes 3 or 4 days in a row. I'm talking like leave the spread in the field because the birds, when they decided they were coming, they were coming.
Yep.
And those late season mallards like that, a lot of times they'll be really bunched up. So I'm talking like 15, 20,000 plus mallard feeds in some of these areas. So in other words, we'd go in there, bam, get our birds, and there's just steady line of birds coming. So in lieu of fucking up the whole situation, we just leave our every damn thing and just get out. Now, this is a place that we can legally do that, but we just leave all our shit, grab our gun, grab our blind bag, and we're gone. Run into the truck with our ducks, get out of there. And then by the time 2,000 ducks are in there, they don't know that those 30 ones are plastic out there and your layout. They don't give a shit. So you're not messing with the whole group of them. So I kind of, that's another little tidbit of things that we do, but I never want to go in and hit the biggest bunch of them, especially early, because a lot of times that's what's feeding you the whole trip.
Yeah, makes a trip.
Yeah, it does. It makes a trip. And then it's also not only fucking it up for you, but there's other people hunting in all these areas. So if you go in there, because I've been fucked by it plenty of times, where you go somewhere and all of a sudden you hear that dreaded shot coming off of that one. You're like, wait a minute. That's where them birds have been. They've been over there.
And now they've ruined it.
Yeah, and well, you're sitting out there and you don't see a bird. Yeah, it just completely fucks them up, and they're gone. But you can go hunt that field, move around to different fields within a couple miles of there, and you might be able to milk that spot for 5-7 days, sometimes longer. So
you brought up something I want to ask.
What's that?
Did you ever hunt Arkansas very much?
I'm gonna tell you my experience in Arkansas. Me and Doofel went, and I think Nick Voss went out there. I bet it was almost 20 years ago. It's been a long time. Okay. I went, it was a complete fucking goat rope on where, I mean, just absolutely complete fucking goat rope to where we went. And even though I know a lot more now than I knew then, but even then, just riding around, and every field I went by had a pit. Everywhere you went, there was a duck hunter. And just for my liking, I said, there are too many people.
Too much pressure.
There's too many people here for me. I kind of suck at duck hunting, but I'm really good at finding places where there's, or I'll spend the time to try to find places where there's not as many people, and it makes it easier for me to kill them. If I got to go compete with a bunch of guys, I'm not a great caller. I've told people that. I've said it on this podcast.
I don't even blow a duck call anymore because William is so good at it. I don't even take I may blow a mallard drake, and that's it. But
well,
yeah,
my guys that I hunt with, that I travel with, there's 4 or 5 of them that can blow a mallard duck call with the best of them. And there's one of them in particular, my buddy Jared, that can blow a goose call as good as anybody in the South, as I've ever heard. For a man that lives somewhere where there ain't a whole lots of geese. And so,
are we talking Lessers, Graders?
No, we're talking Canada's. Just Canada's in general. And those guys can blow duck calls so good. That's their strength. They love to do it. I'm more so, I'm like a connection guy.
Right.
I can shake the hands, kiss the babies. I'm that guy, you know. So I'm more of a connections guy. I do a lot, real good at researching, figuring out that kind of stuff, and then real good at. I feel like I'm pretty good at scouting. Again, that goes back to, if you're not great at getting ducks to go where you want them to go, you better be pretty damn good at knowing where the ducks want to go.
Yeah.
And being able to set up there. So I feel like I'm pretty decent at reading that kind of situation. And everybody's got their strengths and
Do you think you should leave decoys in the water? Are you one of these guys that, I mean, see, in Arkansas, you see this. They'll go out there on day one, throw out 200 decoys, and they leave them for the year.
All right, this is a prime example of my goat roping. We, like a lot of people that are new to traveling, go to such and such has got a daily pit lease up here for $400 or name the price, whatever. We're going to go up here and hunt it. They don't know that, decoys are supplied, man. They're already in the thing. All we got to do is ride up here. You
better take a lot of beer.
Well, we got goat rope. Like I said, it's been almost 20 years ago. Me, Doofel, and Nick went up there. We get there. walk out to where this pit blind was. And it was a nice, I mean, everything was nice looking and all. And I saw the decoys out in the water. And the decoys had water stains on them for how long they had been out there.
They're all faded.
And I went ahead, I looked at Doofle, and I told him right then, I said, I ain't hunting in this blind. And he said, if I'm remember this, like I said, it's been like 20 years ago. But he's like, why? Let's just try it. And I'm like, you ain't going to kill shit here. Like, these ducks know right where these damn plastic decoys are sitting, and they know that they've been in the same damn spot. And every time they come here, some asshole gets up out of this thing and loud noises happen and their buddy dies. And they ain't going to come there. So we tried it for about an hour, and I said, this is fucking stupid.
Wasting time.
I'm not doing this. So I think I grabbed 6 or 8 decoys, and I was watching these birds. And they were going and lighting in the opposite corner. I grabbed 6 or 8 decoys, and I went around that corner and sat in that corner right by myself. There was a little bit of tall grass right there. And I don't remember if I got a limit or not, but I remember the birds that came in after that were like in my face. We shot them, or I shot them. I think Matt and Nick wound up coming over there. It's like I said, man, it's been years ago. But I kind of, after day one, I'm like, this ain't for me. Like this ain't for me. You pay all this money and you're stuck to these inside these 4 walls of this impoundment. Now, I know if you get the right impoundment and you're in the right place and it's managed properly, it can be great. Right. I get that. But 99% of those day leases are not that. No. Because if they were
99.9,
yeah, if they were any good, they'd be leased up by a club. Somebody'd have it, man. So those day leases are just like scraps that some guys left over. And yeah, you might go up there and kill a few ducks. And for some people, that's all they want to do. But if I just want to go kill a few ducks or waste a bunch of time, fuck, I don't need to drive to Arkansas to do that. I can do that right here.
Well, we had a buddy out in Arkansas. We met, and he was all about, let's ride. We're gonna ride in the afternoon. And I wasn't a drinker, so I would just ride, and everybody'd ride and drink with me. And I'd be like, look at this field you got to hunt. It's loaded with ducks. Yeah, but they're not in front of the blind. Well, who gives a shit? Well, what are we going to do to kill them? And I'm like, William, we have wallered in moccasin water, come home muddy, didn't need, camo waders because they were brown by the time you set up and got going. Go where they're at. And these boys leave decoys in front of these blinds. And I just don't understand. Those ducks are not in front of the blind. Well, no kidding. They're not going. Get your ass out and go over there where they are. Which that's how we really made a name for ourselves out in Arkansas with some of the locals we met. Was we'll go hunt. We'll go lay on the bank. I'll throw grass over me and have to re-put it every time a volley comes through. I don't care. If I'm pulling the trigger, I'll do whatever. So
I mean, you got to do. Why I've never understood spending the time, money, and effort of going to a place out of state and then half-assing it when you get there.
This is most of your local guys won't, and for fear of making anybody mad in Arkansas, but most of those guys are spoiled.
Well, I say that about anywhere you get out of the Southeast. You got some of the, I said this the other day, you got some of the most hardcore hunters in the Southeast.
For sure.
And there's, anybody can try to argue that fact all they want. And I've got buddies all across this, from the Northeast to as far west as you can go in this country. And I tell them all the time, especially my guys out west, y'all are fucking spoiled.
I don't even understand.
I'll see them get on these forums and they'll bitch about, well, there ain't nothing around but a bunch of damn green-winged teal right now. It ain't even worth going. Oh, you poor, pitiful bastard.
I'll shoot every damn one of them you got.
You poor bastard. All you got's a bunch of green-winged teal. I put on there one time, I said, I invite all y'all to come over here and hunt a season, and then y'all will be begging for those damn little green-winged teal.
Yeah, now that we've ruined the lake, you better find something else to do.
Unless you're going to go hunt a few wood ducks or shoot some of these park geese around, there ain't really much else to do around here. I mean, that's just kind of what it is. Well, let's tell a couple of good stories. And when I say let's, I feel like you've been kind of holding back on. I know we were just chewing the fat, but y'all have to. Here, let me go ahead and just preface this on how Barrett is. First time I ever talked to Barrett, like I said, our buddy Matt Doofle works at the local building supply store, and Barrett and his partner builds homes for a living. So anyway, they do business.
Business, not life.
Yeah, business. Yeah,
Not life partner.
not life partner.
You want to clarify that these days.
I hear you. So they do business together. So he's like, hey, I got a guy here that I'm going to give you phone number to. He needs some signs. So, all right, man, I appreciate it. So Barrett calls me, and I don't remember. This has been several years ago, and I don't remember the exact conversation or why he even said it. But we were going along the conversation. I'm giving him, yeah, okay, well, if you buy X amount of signs, yeah, we can do this, and yada, 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 yada. And I said something. Either you said something or I said something, and one of us laughed. I remember that. I remember like a joke being had, and all of a sudden you said, hey, are you trying to have sex with me right now? I said, now, that shit caught me off guard.
It's a terrific icebreaker.
Yeah, I'm like, do what? Like, I didn't know anything about your personality or whatever. And I'm like, I ain't talked to this guy on the phone but about 3 minutes and 14 seconds, and he's already asking if I'm trying to have sex with him.
I've always been a say anything, do anything. Now, I don't do anything stupid. But, I mean, like, I'll say anything, do anything, whatever, don't care. I'll have fun. I'm here to have fun. I go to a nuns convention and have a blast. I'm just going to have fun. That's all it is.
So tell me the story, or tell the guys the story about, oh shit, I just drew a blank. The one up there in North Dakota. Didn't y'all went in there and they was having a damn, was it a drag party or something?
No. Well, there's two of them. We walked, first off, the bar in North Dakota is the meeting place, the eatery, the bar. It's everything. I mean, these restaurants are the key to those towns, which is why that cutting that funding off for them from people not being able to go is huge, because that place it makes that town go.
Right.
So we go to one, and they were closed for a private birthday party. There was 3 people in there, and hell, we had 6, and they didn't want us to come enjoy the evening with them. So we went on down the road, went to this place. I can't even remember the name of it, but I know it was the Mint, and the building was orange. And I was like, well, they've already screwed this shit up. So I don't understand, but whatever. So we walk in the back door. This old fat woman's in there. The most beautiful dip of Copenhagen you've ever seen.
She had it in?
I'm talking about a man dip. I'm on the rogue pouches now, but I used to dip Copenhagen. I get about 4 dips out of a can, and she had a dip. Good God. So I was like, oh my goodness, we're in the wrong place. But, and I said, hey, where's everybody at? And she said, well, you can go over there to the finish line, and they got a private party, and you don't want to go to the Lariat. They got the male strippers.
Oh, it was male stripper. I knew there was something.
I said, I'm going to need the address to that establishment pronto, if not sooner. And, we loaded up truck, went down there. And I walked in that front door, and there are 3 old dudes on the stage. One was a fireman, and one was a cop, and we are in nowhere, North Dakota. I mean, we're about 30 minutes out of Minot, and I'm just like, oh my God, dude. These people, these are the roughest looking strippers I've ever seen. I mean, you know, the Chippendales back in the day, you'd think, man, them dudes look pretty good. These guys were, God, there wasn't a full set of teeth on the stage. And when we opened that door, the women looked at us like, fresh meat. I was like, oh my God. Oh Lord. So I'm in there. I'm like, hey, what's the deal here? And they were like, male strippers, y'all ain't coming in. It's $20 cover. I was like, I got $20. Fuck. I'll see it. I'll do anything once. Let's see what it's about, you know? And all the guys in the group were like, no. We had one young fella with us, and we popped his cherry. That's the first time he'd ever been to a strip club.
Didn't y'all fuck him over one good time?
Yeah. So he said that on the ride home. He's like, Mr. Barrett, I need to let you know that's the first strip club I've ever been to. I said, well, welcome to the show, Hoss. It's going to get better than that. So anyway, everybody voted no. It was 5-1. Or 3-1, I can't remember how people were with us, we're leaving this joint. So I left. We get out there in the parking lot, and I'm the driver. And here comes like a herd of cattle coming through the corral at us. And I was like, oh my God, this is unreal. So we got out of that, and they tried to come on with us. And we were like, no, we got to go. So we go up there the next year and find out the same bar has oil wrestling matches. And
wrestling,
not wrestling, wrestling. Oil wrestling
Okay,
matches. And
okay.
I'm like, you got to be damn kidding me. What are we doing here? So, I mean, I got some young bucks. One of them's my son's buddy. And we go up there and we walk in this place, and it's us and some look like pseudo version of the Hells Angels in this bar. And I'm just like, what is going on? But anyway, they bring out these three girls that there wasn't a full set of teeth between them. And they're the oil wrestlers. And we had a blast. Some of the most fun I've ever had on. And to me, I don't care if I squeeze the trigger on a duck hunt. I like to kill ducks, don't get me wrong, but I don't have to be the one shooting. But I just enjoy the time when the sun's down as well. That is some of the most fun to me. That's why I hate deer hunting, because I'm sitting in a tree by myself. But we are in this establishment, and these girls are out there oil wrestling. And this one old boy with us, he was still a young buck. So they were taking bids to have the match where you wrestled all three women, and everybody else in there had spent their money. It was all gone. And I'm like, I said, look, dude, I got $150 in my pocket, and you've been a good buddy to my son. Your ass is going out there fixing to wrestle with these three women. And it was a life-changing experience for this young man. Wait
a minute. Is this the same fella that you took the year before to his first male strip club?
No. It's his buddy, but that guy's with us too. He's with us too.
So we fucked up two young guys. Okay, all right. Just three. Just making sure.
We were about 10 deep. That we took a bunch of folks that year in North Dakota. We were about 10 deep, and we had a blast in there. And we watched his name is Lansing. We watched Lansing go out there and become a man right there on the damn floor. Right there. I watched it. I mean, he was covered in shaving cream, and he's looking at me, beat on! I'm in heaven! I was like, oh my God, dude, calm down. And I tell you what, the following morning was the first time I've ever had anybody too drunk to hunt. And one of the guys that was with us, he had to puke out the window on the way to duck hunt. He made the hunt. I was impressed by that. And I don't think you've ever probably had to do this or seen anybody do this, but have you ever puked out of a layout blind?
I personally have not. No, I try to avoid that
That's a challenge. And he got it done. I mean, I projectile vomit right out the side of a layout blind, and William and I are sitting there going, good God.
I sure as hell hope he was on the end.
He had to be on the end that day. He could not be in the middle. It was bad. It was really rough. But yeah, the oil wrestling matches, the male strip review. I mean, you just never know what you might run into on a good duck hunt. But good times.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit. You told me, and I don't know if you can talk about this or not, or want to. If you don't, that's fine. But you were telling me some funny shit about back when you used to hunt with old champion caller Antonio Duckman Jones.
Man, Antonio was one of the best dudes you'll ever meet. He was from the inner city, had a rough upbringing, had won the world championship, and we're coming out there with a buddy of ours named Mike Shelton. We'd been hunting with Mike for a few years, just met him and become friends, and had been through a lot with Mike of him getting a divorce and coming back and just really having trouble and getting his life back together. And we got to meet Antonio. I called him. We were in Memphis. He's like, hurry up, Antonio's here, world champion duck caller. Like, I know Antonio. I was like, we hang up the phone. I'm like, William, Antonio is probably black. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, what has Shelton gotten into? I mean, you want to tell me all the black duck hunters you've seen in your career?
I know a couple, but not many.
It's not many. I mean,
right.
You'll see a couple in Max out there in Stuttgart because they get everybody coming there. But so we pull in, and I mean, I was sober at the time. I wasn't drinking beers or anything like that. I'd given it up, had a little incident that I just needed to not drink beer for a while. And Antonio comes up, hey, man, my name's Antonio. And I was like, oh, my God, he is as Southern as they come. And this is unreal. And we got the fortune that next day, he said, y'all want to go do some hunting? So we go with Antonio and Antonio got in some trouble because he got leases that he never paid for. That was optional.
Payment was optional.
Yeah, property lines were always in question. He wasn't the best guy as far as that. But now you sit around the duck camp with the guy and you'd fall in love with him. He was awesome. I was so disappointed with what happened to him that my son never got to meet him because he got to hear all about him. But Antonio was, we go out to this field and we're right near Max. And I'm like, we got a better shot to kill ducks in Augusta, Georgia than we do in Stuttgart, Arkansas. This is stupid. I mean, I see these ducks and get down, y'all get down. I'm looking up and I'm like, you talking about the ones bouncing off the sun right now? And he starts hitting that duck call. And I mean, I'd heard him blow it the night before, but I'm like, damn, these things start doing it coming down. I mean, and I'm talking about fast too. And we're cruising altitude. You've got your killer ducks that are below the hard deck. You've got your ducks that are a little bit high. These guys were travelers.
And then you got those ones you go, hey man, you see those birds migrating up there?
And no, they're over here. And you're like, no, not to the left of the sun, up 20 yards. And you're like, no, I don't see them. No, these birds are dropping and they're coming in and we killed them. And that was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. And I have never heard anybody blow a duck call like him ever. Obviously he was a world champion. He did it. He was Jerry Jones's personal duck guide is what I heard. He blew the call for him since the time he's like 13 years old and then won the world championship. He was worried about his family taking his money. So he had come out to this lodge and stayed. And that's how we got to meet him. And man, I think we hung with him about 3 years. He sounded like about 50 ducks at one time. And it was unreal. Just what he could do with a duck call. It was beautiful to listen to. And now he may steal your truck. he may come back with a pack of cigarettes that you bought him because you had cash in the console. He didn't own a pair of waders, which was the craziest thing in the world to me. You're a duck guy with no waders. He didn't own a gun. I mean, but he was awesome. I was glad I got to meet him. William and I were very fortunate to have those moments with him. He taught us a lot. And he wouldn't go to Max. I go to Max. Y'all, I can't go to Max. I kind of stick out. I'm like, yeah. I'm not going to argue with you there. You do.
Did a bunch of people not like him?
He was not liked by a lot of people.
No.
A lot of local people in and around Stuttgart because of the leases without payment, things like that. They frown on that.
Yeah, so it wasn't necessarily because he was black. They
didn't
like him because he was a
shyster.
Yeah, typically, a duck lease has it's called a lease for a reason. And typically, a lease agreement comes with an exchange of money. Most of the leases that I've been a part of.
But he was awesome, man. I loved him to death. I saw him one time. William and I up one morning. Every duck hunter has to take a shit. There's no doubt about it. You ducks start coming, the old sphincter cord gets the tense and it gets a little loose down there and you're thinking, oh my God, I got the shit. And all of a sudden our four-wheeler fires up. Antonio's got our four-wheeler down with this group that paid him $500 a gun. He comes up there to us and y'all got any striking paper? I'm like, Antonio, we only got like the husk and 2 squares. Oh shit, that's enough. He went over there and managed to relieve his bowels and clean with 1 husk and 2 pieces of paper. And I'm not talking about thick quilted northern either.
This is that one-ply hotel stuff.
It was not good. It was not good at all, but he got it done. I was super proud of him. But it was a little scary for William and I.
What, I'll edit this out if you don't want to talk about it, but will you tell the story about when he was supposed to take all the kids hunting and then was getting interviewed?
Oh God. I will.
Okay. I didn't know if you wanted to talk about that. If not, I'll take it out. Okay. I'll tell you guys, we're going to take a quick pee break. We'll be right back. All right, guys, we're back. Barrett, you had we were talking about Antonio and you had told me a story, I don't know, a week or so back. We were talking about doing this podcast about when he was supposed to take a bunch of young men, underprivileged men hunting, or boys hunting. And, he didn't quite make the hunt. Tell us that story if you don't mind.
I think it was Jay Anani was the guy's name. He brought some underprivileged youth down from like Philadelphia. I can't remember exactly. It was about 12 years ago. I don't know. Anyway, so Antonio's taking these guys hunting. William and I come down. And William and I've got ground leased in a bunch of areas. And Antonio he liked to drink gin, and a lot. And we get out there one night. He's going uptown to the bar, which is the most dreadful place you've ever seen in your life. Because I know this because I've had to drive them there. Being the sober guy, you always get lassoed into driving.
Mm-hmm.
So one morning we get up. I'm always last one to go to bed, first one to get up. I'm up, I'm going, and I'm like, is Antonio getting up? Is he gonna get up? And I get out there and I open the door, and there's these two little girls in there with him. I use the term little loosely. They were pretty heavy on the hoof. Anyway, so he's in there with them, and I was like, oh, shut the door back. I didn't realize we had guests. I guess they had ridden out that evening or that morning, late evening. Anyway, so he gets up and he's not going to go. So he's like, hey, y'all mind taking these boys hunting? I'm like, no, Antonio, yeah, we'll take them. It was a tough year. This was a year that William and I hunted probably 30 days in Arkansas, and I don't think we killed 15 ducks. It was tough. It was tough. There was no ducks. It was almost the year we gave up on Arkansas. But anyway, so Antonio's out there. I said, you're not going hunting, Hoss? He was like, no, I ain't going. I'm tired. And I look down, and he's got on these jogging pants that are light gray, and he's got a big old wet spot right there around his wiener. And I said, what are you, the brown recluse? Which I told you he almost made a duck call. He was designing one when he passed away, called the brown recluse. Everybody had picked up, started calling him the brown recluse. And I named him that one morning, sitting there in the kitchen. And he said, what you talking about? What you talking about? I said, you like the brown recluse? He said, Barrett, you so crazy. What are you talking about? I said, look, you got some venom leaking out of your stinger right now. He just, shut up, Barrett, shut up. But we took these boys hunting. We hunted them all day. I mean, obviously we did. We didn't have a limit. We weren't even close to a limit. We weren't even close to one limit. And we hunted all day. He showed up in my truck. That's when he bought his cigarettes for himself. We come home and we cooked for the kids every night. William cooked. I helped William cook for the kids, and we're hanging out. And it was a big special. They were filming it, which was weird. You're the first idiot to put a microphone in my hand. Those were the first group to put me on camera. So
that was your first camera experience. It was taking a bunch of inner city kids that you weren't supposed to even take hunting.
I'm smart enough to stay away from the camera. I got away.
Not today.
I understand today is different. You're the first one to really get me on camera, the first one to ever put a microphone in front of me. So we're in there, and John had taken the boys, I think, down to the dock. He was their overseer. He'd take them down to the dock, and the cameraman was there. And I mean, we love these kids. I'd love to know where they're at, what they're doing now. I have no idea, no way to get in touch with them or anything. But William had met this cameraman and become a good friend and given him the shoes off of his feet because the guy didn't have any shoes. I mean, this was weird. These were some people that didn't have the money that we had. I mean, I look, and he's walking around, and Williams Morell's walking around the lodge, and I was like, and Will's like, I gave him my shoes, you know, his shoes. I was like, I fully understand. So they set up this camera, and they got the lights like we got, and everything's going, and I'm like, this is way too serious for a duck camp for me. I can't do this. What am I going to do to make this not be so serious? Because this is ridiculous. I've seen all these guys so drunk they couldn't walk. So I slipped in the back room, and the camera's, right in Antonio's face, and I'm behind the camera, and I come out butt naked. 100%, not a stitch on. Just free balled out. And actually, I'll just, if you're any relation, wife, my kids, girlfriend, or parents, please turn this off. I got my wiener tucked between my legs.
Hold on. Are they filming at this point?
No, I'm behind the camera. So
no, I say it. Is he filming?
He's on. It's on.
Oh,
we're asking,
I know he's not filming you, but he's filming
serious questions to Antonio Duckman Jones about what he is doing to promote duck hunting with black folks. And that's great. I mean, I'd love for black people to hunt. There's nothing like I thought it was awesome. So he doesn't see me at first because of the bright lights. Then I got to the side of the camera and he saw me and I mean, you could see him just turn red. And I bent over and I looked and I was like, how's my hemorrhoid look back there? How's my hemorrhoid look? Is it bad? And he just turned, he almost just turned white. He didn't know what to do. Man, get some clothes on, you fool. Oh my God. Nobody saw it. It was just me and him. William was in there cooking dinner, so he didn't really see it, and everybody else was kind of gone. And the cameraman whipped around, was like, oh my God, we are in the wrong place. Tony was a great sport about it, though. He loved it. He was awesome. Haiti died. William really wanted for our boys, Tyler and Wilson, to get to meet him. That would have been a huge deal. He was special, but he couldn't do the right thing. And
didn't an overdose or something get him?
He got pulled over, supposedly ingested a bunch of drugs and OD'd. I'm assuming that's what happened.
Seems like that's all too common thing, you know?
It seems to be. He was such a great person. He had a heart of gold, just a 10-cent head. You know,
Yeah.
but when you sat there and drank a beer with him, or
he sounds like he would have been the best guy to have fun with, though.
He was amazing. I mean, he was amazing. I drove him to the bar one night and just loved watching him because everybody loved him as long as you didn't have land lease to him. If you had land lease to him, that was not your guy. You didn't want to be around him because he didn't ever pay you.
Right.
But he's a great dude. Great dude.
Well, that was a pretty good story. I just, you told me that the other day, and I wanted to see if you tell that. Before we move on to a different story, I have to ask, and I don't know if you do or not, but just because I know he'll listen to this and that he'd hate to talk about it, do you have any good Matt Dufel stories?
Oh, I have a great one.
Oh, let's tell a good, man. And for y'all, Matt Dufel was the guy I told y'all that I kind of started hunting with. I've been friends with Matt for well over 20 years at this point, and him and Barrett hunt together a pretty good bit. So anyway, let's embarrass Matt. What kind of story you got?
Dufel's a great hunter. I'm hoping one day he'll be on here, and I feel like he will. Great guy, wonderful outdoorsman, has done a lot of duck hunting here. You guys hunted the swamp, which William and I won't even go to. And for you guys that aren't from here, there's been people die in this swamp duck hunting. I mean, we're talking about a legit deal. But anyway, so Dufel, the first one, we were up in our first trip to North Dakota. The temperatures were going to be 9 degrees, 8 degrees one morning. And we get up there, and Dufel and William have gone over here to Culpeper Ace Hardware and bought their wonderful battery-powered shirts. Well, I left out driving with COVID 2 days prior because I had the long drive, just me and my dog and the trailer and all the decoys. So they get together up there at Culpeper and buy their wonderful heated shirts. And those dumbasses get out there. William's not the dumbass on this one. He was intelligent enough to know. So we're out there hunting, and these ducks are just flogging in on us. They're flogging in on us. We're killing them. We'd already killed them. We were doing that same thing. We actually moved 400 yards each time in the field and just murdered them. All mallards. And they're coming in. Dufel's down there. Man, I can't get this shit. And I'm like, Dufel, what in the hell is wrong with you? He's like, man, I'm on fire. What the hell are you on fire for? This goddamn shirt. This motherfucker won't shut off. And I was like, what? He's like, this shirt. I was like, do you have an undershirt? No. I said, you're supposed to wear an undershirt under that thing, dude. You got the heat and coil straight on your back? Yes. Yes, shit. Ducks are, we've got a group of 50 over. So Dufel sits up out of the blind, it's 8 degrees. My beard is frozen solid. It is frozen solid from your breath coming off that layout blind. And he is butt naked skinning this battery powered shirt because he couldn't show it off. You lose a spit bottle on a layout blind. You could lose anything in a layout blind.
Oh, yeah.
It's unreal. You're doing somersaults in there watching ducks and just things disappear. Cell phone is not a place for a layout blind. It's gone instantly. God.
That's a fact. And your shotgun shells when the next volley's coming in, and you just rang 3 out, and they're like, "Hurry up! Here's some more coming." Yeah. There ain't a fucking shotgun shell at 6 miles when that happened.
Until the volley leaves and they're done and everything's over, and you're reaching every pocket, and I got shells everywhere.
Yeah.
So then one time, Dufel and I and our other lumber salesman Eric Moore and William went down to Sylvester, Georgia, to shoot some quail. A beer drinking contest broke out that night. We went to the local bar.
Dufel's already got you beat. I can tell you that now.
Well, I wasn't a big drinker at the time. I was a sober guy for years. I just needed to do that for my kids and my wife. And we get down there, and Eric is trying to buy everybody beer. So every beer that Eric brought, he would bring 4. So I would take my beer and give it to Dufel. Well, it wasn't a problem. He was down on them.
Oh yeah.
And then we were throwing darts, and I started to notice that Dufel struggled with hitting the board. That was the first sign we were in trouble. Couldn't hit the board. He's done, I could tell. And then I noticed we had a swath of bottles lined up on the pool table that he had not finished, not even started. I was like, guys, quit buying me beer because I'm not drinking them anymore. I was already to the point I couldn't drive. We were going to have to get a ride back, which is another great story. So anyway, there's this young black man in there. His name's Demetrius, and I cannot remember his girlfriend's name. I rode back with her, but Demetrius drove all them back. When we got back, it was about 1:30 in the morning. And I said, let's go in here and fire up this kitchen. This is one of these centrally located kitchens without houses around where you stayed. So I go in there. I was like, they got to have bread and cheese. We're making grilled cheese. I'm starving. I mean, I'm a big fella. At the time, I was about 280 pounds. I needed to eat. And I go in there, fire up the kitchen. I think I made about a full loaf's worth of grilled cheeses. We took it back. Me, William, Eric, and Dufel are eating. It wound up being about 2:30 in the morning. Dufel's still drinking. We give up on it. We got a quail hunting contest in the morning. Who could kill the most birds? It was the first one to 50, I think it was. And we won, but it was from no help from Dufel, I will be honest. So he's like, all right, let's go to bed. So let's go to bed. And we go in there, and it was dueling queen or double beds in there. And Dufel's trying to get around and turn the lights out and brush his teeth and all this stuff. And I'm like, dude, are we going to bed? So finally, he shuts that light off. He walks across that room, and he jumped up, and he laid out into a preacher's seat, going to land on the bed, going to be funny, just flat ass landed right on the hardwood floor. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened, Dufel? What did you just do? What's going on? He's like, I missed the bed. And I was like, what? I got up, I turned the lamp on, I look over there, and he is rolling on the floor. I mean, it hurt him. It sounded like you threw up a 50-pound sack of potatoes, and he just lands on the floor dead right there. And I was like, just totally whiffed the bed. But if you know Matt Dufel, that's Matt Dufel. He's going to just do something stupid to have fun. Not mean to, but he's a good dude.
Just totally laid out. But he was committed, it sounds like.
Committed 100%. I mean, as if it was a swimming pool full of water. He's fixing to get after it and just completely whiffed the bed. Completely whiffed the bed. Still to this day, we talk about that.
Kind of stuff that happens on hunting trips, man.
It's just so much. It's just, everybody's like, why do you fly everywhere you go? You got to. Some of yours is way away.
Yeah, most of the stuff I do is fly, yeah.
I drive. You never know. One, I hate to fly, but you never know what you're going to see. You never know. And it gives you the ability to just stop and go in and see what's up. And I get to see the world. I get to see the flyover states. I love that. I thought Aldine wrote a great song there.
That is a good song.
I love that I get to see what's going on in the upper Midwest, and it's wild. So I always do that.
Me and old Dufel and Chris Rodwell. Do you know Chris?
I do. He's my accountant now.
Yeah, he's mine too. So me, Dufel, and Chris rode out to Texas this past, I don't know, I think we went out there in December, I think it was, to go deer hunting. And that was a pretty fun trip. And I think Dufel drove for about a total, well, I can't remember. I don't know. I don't want to shit on Matt. I don't remember if it was Matt or if it was Rodwell that drove for about a total of 10 minutes on a 16-hour drive. Rodwell was sick as a dog on the way back. I think Rodwell drove. I think it was Dufel somehow or another weaseled out of driving on the way out there. I think he drove for about 10 minutes on the whole ride. But
look here, we were on the way to North Dakota. Me, Rodwell, and Dufel on the way to North Dakota. And we left at about 5 o'clock one night and drove all the way through St. Louis, which is a long way if you don't know it. That's like 13 hours. So we pull over, rent a hotel for about 2.5 hours, slept, got up, keep going. Rodwell got about an hour in, and I can't stand to not drive. So I'm over there. I'm like, let me back in the driver's seat. So I get back in the driver's seat. We're going. And the sun goes down, and Doofle struggles with the fact that the sun has gone down and there's not a beer in his hand. So we roll through South Dakota, and I hold him off, and he starts drinking beer somewhere around Fargo. And Fargo to Grand Forks is I guess it's about a 2-hour ride. It ain't bad. But we had to stop and pee 3 times. And he was just guzzling these beers back there. And I'm like, dude, I'm about making time. You're messing up my deal. I'm racing the GPS here and I'm losing because your idiot self has to stop and pee. Well, we'd also stopped and eaten at Five Guys, and they have the paper cups. And I don't like the paper cups. I like the foam. But, well, I'm just going to pee in this cup then, because I told him I wasn't stopping. And that son of a gun filled a 32-ounce cup up in the middle of an F-250 full of 6 guys' stuff headed to North Dakota. Trailers full, trucks full. So, I mean, the best place to set it, of course, is right there on the center console. So pee flapping everywhere out of this cup. I mean,
oh my God.
Now the roads in North Dakota, I don't want to sell them, out. They're really smooth, but still, I mean, it was to the rim. I couldn't believe it. But yeah, he loves to drink his beer. Doesn't mind peeing in the old Five Guys cup riding down the road.
Man, just talking about Doofle made me think about a bunch of old stories. None of those old hunting stories I could think. I know I got some, but right now I can't think any good funny ones from back then. But man, we had a lot of fun times. Me and him and Nick, we used to drive to Texas and go hunt coastal Texas a lot when we were younger. Man, we used to hunt that WMA you're talking about around here back when it actually had ducks. And my wife, she was my girlfriend at the time, she would drop us off because they'd write you a ticket back then.
For parking.
For parking, yes. And I wish they'd still do that. And, well, there wouldn't be the ducks there that there used to be anyway because of habitat. So it's shot out now. They got so much cattail invasion there now. The holes that we used to hunt literally are not even there anymore. It's
Wow.
complete solid wall of cattails. But anyway, back then there wasn't a bunch of people that hunted those holes. My girlfriend would get up and drop us off, me, Matt, and Nick. And you can only hunt that WMA on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And we had 3 or 4 different holes, and we'd rotate them. One Wednesday, one Saturday, next Wednesday, I'd go scout before, and we'd hunt one of these ones. And man, we were killing limits of gadwall and widgeon.
That's crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you, I've got all the pictures to prove it.
I've seen them. Beautiful, showed them to me.
I've got all the pictures to prove it. And back then, the duck hunting around was so good on that WMA back then that one morning I had scouted this hole one day, and there was so many green-winged teal. And mind you, this is a swamp, right? I mean, you know these swamp holes. I bet this swamp probably had 700 to 1,000 green wings in it. And I mean, a tiny little hole.
Yeah.
And I was watching them fly in, and I couldn't believe it. So I was just sitting there watching. Well, about 45 minutes after all the teal came in, here come the gadwall and big ducks started coming in and pouring in there. So I said, all right, I told Matt and Nick, I said, all right, we need to let these teal go. We'd been killing a bunch of teal. This was on a Friday, I'm pretty sure. Next morning was Saturday. And I said, there's a bunch of teal in here, but I'm telling you, the big ducks are coming. The widgeon and the gadwall are coming. Let all these teal go. And I shit you not, I wish I had a video camera of this. Me and Nick were standing, I think Matt was too all right, but Nick and I were standing almost together. There were so many green-winged teal on the water. We had not pulled the trigger that they were swimming like all in and around our legs.
Man, that's awesome.
All between me and Nick. And I can close my eyes right now and go right back to that. And I remember just looking at Nick and going, man, this is crazy.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And they just never jumped. They were so comfortable in there. And we were in some tall cattail stuff and we're trying to stay as still as we could. And I think after a while, they kind of got, teal ain't the brightest of birds. They kind of figured out we were there and it kind of just made it over to the other side of the hole. And they're like, man, are you sure that them big birds are coming? I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, they were here yesterday. Well, here they come. Gadwall started coming in a circle. We're calling to them. They come fluttering down, and I remember that when those first shots rang out, those green wings erupted up out of there, and it was one of the prettiest sights to see. And man, if I live to be 100 years old, I'll never forget that. But we killed a 3-man limit of widgeon and gadwall that day, and let all those green winged teal go. Now you tell me where else on public ground in Georgia
there ain't no shot.
There ain't no shot, and it ain't. You can't do that now. Not even on the best private ground, you can't do that now. But back then, man, there used to be some birds around here back then, and and I'm younger than you, but that's in my lifetime. That there used to be some birds, but there wasn't the pressure. There just wasn't the pressure.
No.
Like, we hunted that place Wednesday and Saturday for several years. And now we had to do a little extra legwork
For sure.
because we had to. You
Long
couldn't
walk.
Park. Yeah, you couldn't park there. Long walk, had to get dropped off, picked up, and all that. But we'd kill limits every time we go. I mean, blue wings, green wings, widgeon, gadwall, pintail. I've killed divers in there, believe it or not. We shot some ringnecks back in there. Lots of wood ducks. But anyway, yeah, I had some good old times with Doofle. But one Doofle story I'll tell, and it's more so my uncle, not Doofle, but my Uncle James, you'd have to know him. He was homeless, had a bad drinking problem. This was my dad's brother. I had a very interesting upbringing. This was my dad's brother, and he lived in a tent on the back of this guy's property in Griffin, Georgia. He drove an old International pickup truck, and he was the firewood man. He'd cut up enough firewood in the wintertime and all, just enough to sell it to get. He didn't have hardly a pot to piss in or a window to sling it out. But there was two things that man was gonna have. He's gonna have money for his Budweiser, and he was gonna have money for his scratch off tickets in his Cast 3 or Pick 3 or what the fuck ever it is, lottery. And every once in a while he'd get tired. He looked like a mountain man. He had a big old beard down to his waist. Big fella. My dad was 6'6". James was 6'5". I took after my mom's side of the family.
I
as you can
understand.
tell. Yeah. So he was a big old mountain burly looking man. And anyway, he would come down. He'd just show up. He wouldn't call Dad. He just fucking one day you'd hear that old International pickup truck come clicking down the driveway, and he'd just show up and stay for about a week. And I think what it was, looking back on it now, he'd get tired of sleeping in that old tent. It'd be cold or something. He'd come down to Willie's house. My dad was Willie. He'd come down to Willie's house and hang out for a week or so. And he was, I think he had about a 4th or 5th grade education. And I'm not joking. My dad never made it past, I don't think, the 6th or 7th grade. I had an interesting upbringing, but my dad was a great man, but he just, and had more street smarts and common sense than most. He really did. But he just, the way they were brought up and raised, it was just a rough upbringing. So James wasn't very educated, couldn't really read that well. And, all my buddies loved him. Uncle James come to town. You just have to meet him. He is full of shit. Everything he said was just completely.
I've met people like that.
Yeah, he was just, you couldn't believe a damn word he said on anything, like anything. And anyway, so he was down and Matt Doofle came over, and Matt always liked to mess with James when he was around, and James would mess with Matt, all my buddies. And James, he was fun to cut up with as a kid. You know, he'd cut up with you and carry on and all that shit. He told Matt and me, he said, "Hey boys, y'all come over here. I want to show you my girlfriend I got." Now, he was being dead fucking serious now. Dead. I want to show you my girlfriend I got. So he pulls out this picture, pulls out his old wallet, pulls out this picture. And you remember them old, what was them damn glamour shots? You remember them old
yeah.
And they used to have like the little glamour shot, like business card like things, like, hey, here, get you a glamour shot. And it was clearly one of those. Now, James at this time was probably 50 years old. He dipped Bruton snuff, that old powdered snuff. Oh, yeah, dude. He didn't live much longer after this. And but anyway, he dipped that old Bruton snuff, that old powdered snuff, and his beard was always covered in that. He was just a rough around the edges old fella. So he pulls out this old picture out of his wallet. He said, "Boys," he said, "this is my gal friend right here. What y'all think about her?" We looked down at that little business card, and it's this picture of this probably, I don't know, 18, 20-year-old black girl, right? This 18, 20-year-old black girl on there. And Matt's sitting there, and he's like, "That ain't your damn girlfriend, James. You crazy as hell." And he goes, "Oh, the hell she ain't." He goes, "She's got a pussy you could cover up with a dime." and Doofle still tells that story all the time. All the time. Yeah, Uncle James, man, he was a wild man. There's all kind of crazy old stories back then with Doofle. This ain't got nothing to do with hunting, but and I want to ask you about your game one story in a minute if you got time. But
I got all you want.
I'm gonna tell one more just because it's got me thinking about old stories with my dad and because Matt was around when my dad was still alive. My dad died of a heart attack unexpectedly, about 30 yards behind this shop.
Damn.
Before this was built. He wanted to cut some firewood for anything was out here, and I told him, said, go ahead. We had a bunch of trees down. He died back there, and that's been 15 years ago, and that's been a long time. And there was nothing here at the time, but anyway, yeah, so he's passed on now. But my dad was, again, he had about a 6th or 7th grade education. I don't know if he ever knew that he was supposed to. I don't even know if he knew the IRS existed. If you understand what I'm getting at, he's gone now, so there's nothing they can do to him. But I mean, he was the kind of fella, and I love my dad to death, and I'm glad I grew up like this. All right, so I want anybody listening to this. I'm glad because it made me the man I am right now.
Right.
But he was the kind of, my family back then on that side was the kind of family where he had about 5 different old trucks, and they all ran. He could build any damn thing,
Right.
And fix anything. But he had one tag for all 5 trucks. So he'd say, "Son, go out there and take it off the 250." He had like an old dump truck and put it on the Toyota. We got to go to town this morning. So I was always out there with the screwdriver, and I just thought that's what everybody did. I did. I'm not kidding. I just thought that's how everybody lived. We had we had one tag for 5 trucks, and thinking back on that, how he didn't, the shit that he got away with back then. But he came outside one morning and he said, damn, and I think Matt was there, or he was there that afternoon, which is what reminded me of that story. I'm pretty sure. I have to ask Matt about it. It's been so long ago. But he said, damn, son. He said, my damn tooth, I got a tooth that's hurting. And he looked up and his face was swole up like that. And what it is, he had got one of them damn abscess on his tooth. He pulled it. I said, Dad, you better go to the damn dentist like today. I said, dude,
honing in on hospital.
Yeah, that shit will kill you. I ain't going to no goddamn dentist and da-da-da-da-da-da. He's carrying on and freaking spam phone call. Sorry about that. But I ain't doing that or whatnot. And I think I know what it was. I had to go to work that day, and I worked with Duffel at the time. That was back when old Sportsman's Link was over there.
Yeah.
So we worked, and a lot of time we got off work. Me and old Duffel, we'd come back to the house because I lived on a little pond right there, and we'd go fishing in the pond, and we was always dicking around doing something. And we pulled back up in the yard, and my dad goes, son, I got that motherfucker. And I said,
oh, no.
I said, you got what? And ask Duffel, he'll tell you this ain't no bullshit. And I said, you got what? I'm gonna show you. He come walking out the door with a pair of vice grips.
Oh my God.
With the tooth still in them. He goes, I called that damn dentist and they wanted $200 to get that damn tooth out. He said, this damn vice grips right here were free. He said, I just went in there and clamped that thing on there and pulled it out and packed this damn thing up there full of cotton balls and kept carrying on.
Good Lord.
Kept carrying on. Duffel was there that afternoon. So anyway, that was thinking about Duffel just brought up some of them old memories from back when I was, 16, 17 years old. I need to get Matt on here because Matt could he remembers more of these old stories with them than I do. Because, Matt didn't grow up like that. So I think at the time, I just thought all that shit was normal. Yeah, I never realized we were poor. I'm telling you, I didn't. I mean, I had a mud flap. This is no shit. We lived in a single wide trailer that was probably a 1950, 60 something model. It was one of them ones that had that thick aluminum siding and thick aluminum on the top, old single wide trailer. And a limb had fallen through the damn roof right above my freaking bed. My dad, those old Yosemite Sam mud flaps they used to have that said back off?
Yep.
I had one of those that he pulled off on one of his damn trucks. So he only had one mud flap. He took his other mud flap off, and he climbed up there on the roof and put it on top of that hole and tore it all around it. And then when it dried, he taped it up real good, and he said, all right, son, you'll be good. And it was like that until the day I left that house.
I fixed my parents' house with the cover off of an electric water heater. I shoved it right up under that shingle.
I mean, hey man, I didn't, but thinking back about it, and I'm getting way off track here, but just thinking back about it, those were some of honestly, the best days. I didn't have any money. We didn't have any money. I didn't realize we didn't have any money. I just thought that's how everybody lived. But I had a lot less stress, a lot
No doubt.
lot less care in the world. I'd go back and I wouldn't change a thing.
No, no.
But anyway, just I went down memory lane there with Doofle. But all right, let's enough about that. Let's get back on I don't know how much longer you got here, but let's go a little bit if you got it. I know you sent me a list of
I called you. I listened to the podcast. Doofle said you need to listen to it. Robbie wants you to come on, listen to it. And I listened to it, and I listened to that game warden fella. Fine gentleman. Enjoyed listening to it. Thought he did a great job. I was sitting in the chair. I know how hard it is to do if you're not used to this. And he told some great stories.
He did. He's a great guy.
But the game warden, I have, my son knows he can do anything in life except be a cop, a referee, an umpire, or a game warden. I'm good with anything else he wants to do, but he cannot be any of those. I respect law enforcement, love them to death. I don't want a son for a cop. Game wardens to me are out there to punish you. They're never coming to help you out. They're always there to cost you money. And I was born and raised that way. My whole family was raised that way. Everybody I hunt with is raised that way. You just don't trust green jeans. There's nothing good that comes from green jeans. And I've listened to a lot of podcasts about it and awful stuff. And now if a game warden comes up on me, I take my picture with him. I put him on Facebook. I make sure we're going to get photos together. It's a selfie opportunity. And just the ignorant stuff that I have seen out of them is amazing. And I know we're running short on time. I'll give you one story. Maybe we can come back and do some more later. I was in Bowling Green, Kentucky. I had my 7-year-old son with me, Wilson. He was up there. He was 6 because he started shooting when he was 7. We were 6 years old. Hurricane had come through the Gulf and was coming on us, and we knew it. But it made the dove hunting up there is different than it is here. It's like going out to the Midwest. They're just different. These birds are everywhere. I mean, you could go up there on a 2-acre field and kill 350 on it. I mean, it's insane. So we're going to go. My whole family goes opening day of dove season, which up there is September 1st. It don't matter if it's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It doesn't matter. You're going. It's there. It comes in on that day, the 1st. So my dad goes down to the local Harris Teeter or something, I don't know, buy a license. And they go in there and they see it. Of course, I have an iPhone. I'm not a great computer guy, but I buy my license. And we get out there in the dove field and we all get to our spot we're supposed to be in. I got Wilson with me and the warden pulls in the field. And I'm already kind of nervous. I think we had about 4 or 5 birds. It wasn't many, but I'm like, oh my goodness, has anybody killed over the limit? Are we in trouble? We hadn't been there long. And the warden goes down the way, and I see him going down over there, and he gets to my Uncle Hoot. And my dad's name is Buck. My uncle's name is Hoot. I don't know where they got these names from, but that's okay. So I see him get to my Uncle Hoot, and he talks to him, and then they were there a while, and then I see him go to my dad, and this is probably 400 yards away, which is not far in a dove field. And I'm watching this go on, and my dad calls me. And he says, I could tell he had a lot of angst in his voice. My dad's not a big cusser. He's very prim and proper about what he does. He don't do a lot of stuff. You know, I'm definitely the black sheep of my family. He says, they're fixing to take my gun. And I said, what for? He said, I have an in-state license. They sold me an in-state license. And we lived in Georgia. Dad was from Kentucky, but we lived in Georgia. And he said, even worse, what your Uncle Hoot has is a trout stamp, and that's it. And I said,
trout stamp?
I said, Dad, what in the hell are you talking about? He says, I said, look, you need to walk up here. So the guy's got my dad's gun, and my dad comes up and he gets to me, and on the phone, I buy Dad's license immediately. So now I think he paid $25 for the in-state deal. And I went ahead and just bought a new license out of state, and it's done. I wasn't with him. I don't know. My dad's 83. So at the time, Wilson was 13 years ago. So he was 70 years old. I mean, 70-year-old don't know he don't know. I mean, It's almost, I think once you get 70, you ought to be able to just hunt in this world wherever you want to. I think that's something we ought to look at. But anyway, So we're going to take his gun, this, that, and the other. And the warden comes up to me. Now, my 6-year-old's with me. My son has had some alternative raising in his life. He has been around me as a football coach where I'll get out there and let it ride. He's been around me when I lose my hockey on people. He's seen it. And this warden comes up, and Officer Pencil Neck or whatever, I don't know what his name was. He says, we're going to take your father's gun. He has an in-state license. I said, no, you're not. I said, you're not going to touch that gun. My brother and I bought him that gun. You ain't going to touch it. Sir, you're not going to talk to me that way. Now my uncle has walked over. I'm sorry, my cousin has walked over, but he was their age. They were first cousins. I guess he's my second. I don't know how all that works. I ain't that smart. And my uncle has come up the hill, and he says, we're taking his gun. You're lucky I'm not taking him to jail. I said, take him to jail for what? They had the improper licenses. I said, what are you talking about? He said, he's got in-state, he's got trout stamp, and that's it. And I said, where did y'all go? And I don't know the store. I'm just going to use Ace Hardware or whatever. So we went to Ace Hardware and we bought the license, And I said, no, you're not doing anything because your representative that you approved to sell the license sold them an in-state license and a trout stamp when they told them they were going. I said, Dad, did you go? My dad's one of the most honest people you'll ever meet. I mean, he's that way. I mean, anybody you ever meet, if you ever met him, you'd say, God, where'd you come from? But he's sitting there and he says, yeah, I told him I was from out of state. I handed him my Georgia driver's license. They sold me an in-state hunt license. And he says, that doesn't matter. And I said, no, a representative of your people that you approved to sell these licenses sold the man the wrong license. You're not going to take that gun. I don't care what you do. He says, sir, we're walking out of here with that gun. I don't care what happens. And I'm going to have to take your dad with me if you keep acting like this. I said, let me tell you what, brother. I said, that's wrong. I said, tell you what's fixing to happen. You're going to get your ass up. You're going to go get in that car and you're going to leave and we're going to continue to shoot doves. Dad, you take your fucking gun and you go back down to the corner because I've already bought his license. I showed him. I said, I got his license. Now I've paid double, which is paying your salary. You go back down there and you sit there and you shoot doves. Uncle Hoot, we just bought yours because my cousin had come over and bought his. I said, we got your license, but you take your gun and you go back to that corner and every trout that flies by, you shoot that motherfucker immediately right here on the site. And I've lost it. Wilson's grabbing me by the pants. Daddy, stop. Daddy, stop. And I said, I tell you what, get your ass in your car and you leave here now. I'm 1-0 in the dove fields of Kentucky with the game wardens trying cases. And up walks the other game warden and he's bebopping. I mean, I've lost it. I've gotten loud, but this guy couldn't hear me because that hurricane was coming and that wind was blowing and the storm rolls in about 15 minutes after this happened. So you couldn't hear. He comes up, yeah, we had one down there that didn't have a license, but I didn't do anything but let him buy the license. I said, well, Lee, I appreciate you being a good person. This guy's an asshole. And I've lost it on this dude. I mean, I am F-bombing left and right. My cousin, second cousin, who's like my dad's age, is like, Barrett, calm down. Barrett, calm down. Barrett, calm down. And there was no turning back. I had lost it, but I just couldn't believe it. And just didn't have sense to stop and just say, let's just have some reality here. The guy bought a license. This dude came out here with a trout stamp. These guys have hunted since they could walk. They grew up. My granddad's the reason why I'm the way I am.
I'm sorry. I'm hung up on shoot every fucking
trout stamp. We have a family picture. So we generally hunt at my cousin's house that has 2.5 acres of plowed up sunflower seeds of about a quarter of an acre. And of that quarter acre, we put up a power line between two trees, and the most birds killed off of it, I think, was 375.
Guys, I feel like I have to say this on every damn episode now, but again, I had a little bit of technical difficulty there.
Testicle
difficulty.
It went nuts.
Yeah. This fucking guy. But this great deering internet we have out here is not very doesn't work all the time. So anyway,
well, I think once Elon tunes in, he'll send us a Starlink.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean that's what we need. I just need if I can get Starlink as a sponsor, that'd be great.
I don't know why we wouldn't.
Yeah, but until then, I'll probably just pay his $120 a month until he catches on to this. No, I'll have Starlink out here in the shop here pretty soon because the way this has been going, this is starting to get aggravating. I hate y'all having to listen to it like that. But anyway, so in saying all that, I don't know right where we left off, but I know that I got to go get my little girl here, and I know Barrett's got stuff he's got to do this afternoon. So we're probably going to go ahead and cut it off right about here. But Barrett, I know there's a million more stories that you got. I know that I'd like to get a few more people involved on this. this garage beer style episode where we just kind of stop and chew the fat. The serious podcasts are fun, and we talked about ducks to begin with, man, but this is more like blind talk to me. And not everything's got to be about duck hunting all the time. Hell, half the time, like most of the stories you told that were funny, it didn't even involve anything to do with the hunt. It's the shit in between the volleys and after the hunt. Like you said, Barrett brought up a good one. He said we might try to come back and do a after dark episode, which is basically just stories that happen after dark on these duck trips and all.
That's what makes them.
It is.
That's why you go home with a sore stomach. And your wife's like, well, you don't even drink. And I'm like, I don't. I laugh, and I laugh nonstop.
Yeah, and I've always been mad at them and want to kill them. I think the older I get, I still want to kill them, but you start to realize there's a lot more to it than just that.
Yep.
On the trips for sure. And on those tough trips you were talking about, like when you went out there with Antonio and y'all only shot like 15 ducks in however many days. But I mean, that story you just told about
it made the trip.
It did. And how long you're still telling that story. I mean, you just told it to me on this podcast. So that's what really hunting is all about. And it should be more about that kind of stuff. So we will do this again, guys, for sure. Maybe next time we do it, we can convince Doofle or either one of your buddies or somebody to come. I'd love to get where we got 2 or 3, at least 3, maybe 4 people just chewing the fat, really. Nothing important, but anything you want to add to this before it's over?
No, brother. I look forward to maybe doing it again.
We'll do it again. Ain't no maybe about it. We'll get it done. Well, guys, I appreciate y'all listening. It's been a lot of fun. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And we will catch y'all on the next episode of the Southern Flight Podcast.